He was a boy who wanted to touch eternity, but the higher he climbed, the further he fell from himself. Oedipus, the curse of knowing too much. In the heart of Greek mythology, where gods weave the threads of mortal lives, a story unfolds that chills the very soul. It is a tale of a king, a prophecy, and a relentless march toward a truth too terrible to bear. This is the story of Oedipus, a man who ran from his fate, only to run directly into its cold, waiting arms. His tragedy is not one of ignorance, but of a desperate, blinding search for knowledge that ultimately becomes his undoing. Our story begins not with a man, but with a curse whispered on the winds of destiny. An oracle, a mouthpiece of the gods, delivers a chilling prophecy to King Laius and Queen Jocasta of Thebes. Their newborn son is doomed to murder his father and marry his mother. Haunted by this vision of unspeakable horror, they make a decision born of fear. They pierce the infant's ankles and order him to be left for dead on a desolate mountainside, a sacrifice to cheat the gods and rewrite their future. But fate, in these ancient tales, is not a path one can simply step away from. It is a current, deep and powerful, that pulls all things toward their preordained conclusion. The abandoned child, Oedipus, is found by a shepherd and taken to Corinth, where he is raised as the beloved son of King Polybus and Queen Merope. He grows into a man of sharp intellect and noble bearing, unaware of the shadow that has followed him since birth. The secret of his parentage remains buried, a seed of tragedy waiting for the right moment to sprout. The whispers of destiny, however, are never truly silenced. A drunken comment at a banquet plants a seed of doubt in Oedipus' mind. Are Polybus and Merope truly his parents? Plagued by this uncertainty, he travels to the oracle at Delphi, the very same source of his parents' dread, seeking the truth of his identity. But the gods do not answer the question he asks. Instead, the oracle repeats the same horrifying prophecy. He will kill his father and marry his mother. Believing Polybus and Merope to be his true parents, Oedipus makes a fateful choice. To protect them, to defy the gods, he vows never to return to Corinth. He flees, putting as much distance as he can between himself and the home he loves. In his desperate attempt to escape his destiny, he runs blindly down the very road that will lead him to fulfill it. His journey is a frantic race against a future he cannot comprehend, a flight from a truth that resides not in a distant land, but within his own blood. On a narrow road where three paths cross, a symbol of choices and inescapable ends, Oedipus's journey collides with another. An argument erupts with an older man in a chariot over the right-of-way. Tempers flare, and in a moment of hubris and rage, Oedipus strikes the man and his attendants down, killing them all. He continues his journey, ignorant of the monumental significance of his act. The man he has just slain was Laius, king of Thebes, and his biological father. The first part of the prophecy has been fulfilled, not by divine intervention, but by a simple, brutal act of human anger. Arriving at the gates of Thebes, Oedipus finds a city tormented by the Sphinx, a monstrous creature with the body of a lion, the wings of an eagle, and the head of a woman. It preys upon travelers, devouring anyone who cannot answer its riddle. Thebes is a city paralyzed by fear, its throne empty. Oedipus, confident in his intellect, confronts the beast. The Sphinx asks, "What goes on 4 feet in the morning, 2 feet at noon, and 3 feet in the evening?" With sharp insight, Oedipus answers, "Man, who crawls as a baby, walks as an adult, and leans on a cane in old age." The Sphinx, defeated, casts itself from a cliff. Oedipus is hailed as a hero, the savior of Thebes. As a reward, he is given the throne and the hand of the widowed queen, Jocasta, his own mother. The prophecy is now complete. Every step taken to avoid it has been a step toward its terrible realization. Years pass, and Oedipus rules as a just and beloved king. But a plague descends upon Thebes, a sickness that mirrors the hidden corruption at the heart of the royal family. Seeking to save his people, Oedipus launches a relentless investigation to find the murderer of the previous king, Laius, whose death, the oracles say, is the cause of the city's suffering. He becomes a detective in his own life story, vowing to expose the truth no matter the cost. The investigation is a slow, agonizing unraveling of the past. A blind prophet, Tiresias, warns Oedipus to abandon his quest, but Oedipus, in his pride, accuses the prophet of conspiracy. Piece by agonizing piece, the truth emerges. A messenger from Corinth arrives to announce the death of King Polybus, which Oedipus initially receives as proof that the prophecy was false. But the messenger reveals a final, devastating secret. Oedipus was not Polybus's son. He was a foundling from Thebes, given to the messenger by a shepherd. The final witness, the old shepherd who was ordered to abandon the infant Oedipus and who also witnessed Laius's murder, is brought before the king. Jocasta, realizing the horrifying truth before Oedipus does, begs him to stop, but he cannot. He must know. The shepherd confesses, and the full, unbearable weight of reality crashes down. Oedipus, the solver of riddles, finally solves the riddle of himself. He is the son of Laius and Jocasta, the murderer of his father, and the husband of his mother. The discovery shatters their world. Jocasta, in her grief and shame, takes her own life. Oedipus, finding her, does not seek the release of death. He takes the golden brooches from her dress and plunges them into his eyes, blinding himself. The man who was so desperate to see the truth can no longer bear to look upon the world he has created. His physical blindness becomes a symbol of his earlier internal blindness to his own identity. He sought knowledge, but the knowledge he found was a curse. The tragedy of Oedipus is a profound exploration of destiny, free will, and the terrifying nature of self-awareness. He was not a mere puppet of the gods. His own choices, his pride, his anger, his relentless pursuit of the truth, were the very instruments of his downfall. He tried to outrun fate, but his every move was a stitch in its intricate design. In the end, his story serves as a timeless, haunting warning. Fate isn't what we escape. It's what we create when we refuse to look within.